it off with the nature boy. Yeah. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Friday edition of the Off Base Podcast. The podcast carefully crafted to remind you to suck a fat one if you think you're the only one. Because you're not. I am your host. I am the Rocky Mountain no-name Jackass. And it's 36 degrees in the city of Aurora at 7:51 in the a.m. on Friday, March 25th, 2022. Yeah. Jaw time. The Rocky Mountains. Is Grizzly? Yeah, Grizzly's got to be some kind of Rocky Mountain company. I mean, it's a grizzly bear. Alright, I think we're ready. So, interestingly enough about the weather, I mean, it's 36 degrees, right? But it's the experience of the weather is so relative. And what I mean by that is, when we lived in Texas, if the temperature in the wintertime ever got down into the 40s and 30s, which it did every once in a while, holy shit, was it cold. But now that we're here in Colorado and we've experienced, particularly the last month and a half or so, like starting in February, experiencing sub-zero temperatures. To have the temperature at 36 right now, it's like a fucking heat wave. It was. I walked out. I mean, I got a jacket on to keep myself warm, but it was like comfortable walking outside. The experience of weather is relative. So with that being said, today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, we're supposed to have highs in the 70s here in March in Colorado. It's going to be beautiful. And for tomorrow, planning on doing a little shrimp boil with our neighbors. Shrimp boil with some corn on the cob, some red taters. I'll probably throw some jalapenos in there. And of course, my favorite, that fucking seasoning, crab boil seasoning, man. Fucking love that stuff. Get a nice spice to it. Rawr. Now, my neighbor is actually allergic to shellfish, so there's a dish. I haven't made it in a while because I usually do it on the grill, but I'm going to do it in the broiler for him. It's swordfish skewers. They're fucking awesome, dude. Made with a chimichurri. And then you also grill lemons. Now, I don't know if anybody out there has ever grilled a lemon before. No, I can't grill it, but I'll put it in the broiler or on the griddle. I don't know if anybody out there has grilled a lemon before, but it's pretty fucking cool because when I would make this swordfish skewer dish, you know, you alternate with swordfish and then zucchini and yellow squash and then a bay leaf, and then you put the chimichurri up on top, and then grill the lemons at the same time. And then when you take everything off the grill, all you need is the slightest squeeze of the lemon and the juice just goes whoosh. Let me recreate that for you just in case you didn't hear or see it the first time. When you just even slightly squeeze the lemon, it goes whoosh. You like that? I know, my two podcast listeners really, really enjoy the way in which I can describe shit over the internet, over the tube of you. So that's what I'll make for him. And I'll probably be enjoying some beers. Oh yeah, and before we do our shrimp bowl, that's the way they say it in the South. It's not boil, it's a bowl, like olive oil. Before we do our shrimp boil, though, we're going to do the Air Force fitness test. Looking forward to that. So I've been maxing out on my push-ups on that. My sit-ups are getting a little bit better, but I think I'm going to get a good time on my run this time. Shall see. Only because of my diet and how I've been eating. I've been eating very keto-y well as of late. Taxes are depressing me right now, just to switch gears here, man, because, I don't know, probably because we have to pay this year. In the past, I've enjoyed doing them because I learned about the tax code and whatnot. And the only reason why I started doing them for ourselves was because, I think it was 2014, we had Liberty Tax do our taxes, and they were missing shit. And you have to pay them, right? So whoever does your taxes, of course, they're providing that service, so you got to pay them money in order to do that. But fucking Liberty Tax, if they hadn't missed a couple of things that I caught after the fact, we would have got like an extra $600-700 on our return. It's like, and then you pay them however much we paid them. It wasn't that much because they were a chain, they were Liberty Tax. But I think it came out to $1,000 that we could have got, $1,000 extra we could have got. So I'm like, fuck that, man. I'll take the time. I'll read up on it myself. Save ourselves the money of having to pay somebody to do it, and end up getting more, just in case, God forbid, that I miss something when I'm going through the tax code. I mean, I've talked about it before. Taxes are just so fucking weird, man. Why don't we just do a flat tax right across the board on everything that you buy, not on what you earn? It's so ridiculous. So ridiculous. Because what grows an economy is savings and investment, not spending. Before you can consume, you must produce. You can't just be like, oh yeah, I want to eat 5 oranges. Well, if you haven't produced 5 oranges, you can't eat 5 oranges. Savings and investment, people. Anyway, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because I've been focusing some of my time every day to continuing my card collection, my sports card collection, in particular 80s and 90s basketball. Loved that era of basketball. Now I'm probably more of a football fan, because basketball with the rule changes have just turned me off. You can't even hand check somebody, you get a foul called on you. And maybe at some point I'll return to collecting the football cards, but the basketball ones are just fantastic because I'm not saying that football players aren't athletic. They're fucking incredible athletes, but the only players that you can get in really cool poses, in my humble opinion, are wide receivers who are diving for a catch or whatnot. But some of the poses that you can capture on a basketball card are just phenomenal on what guys can do around the hoop. So, like I said, I've been trying to go for 80s and 90s basketball. In particular, I'm focusing on Fleer and Tops and Upper Deck. Most recent ones are Paninis. But the cards, and I bought a couple packs at the BX just to check them out and see, what they're doing with cards nowadays. And there's just so many of them. It's just the supply is enormous. The Paninis that I've been collecting from the BX, they're Panini 2021, the Chronicles series, and that's the other thing too. Well, I just said it. The supply is enormous because they'll come out with like 6 or 7 different types of cards for one season. And with the Panini Chronicles, there's a total of 700 cards, and I did a filtering process on it. There's only 97 guys that are represented on the cards, but there's 700 of them, and then they come in all these different variations of blue, teal, red, green, gold, bronze, silver. So you got 97 players, 700 cards, maybe 8 to 10 different variations of the card, and there's over 7,000 cards you can collect. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. What the H? Whereas back in the day, let's say with like the 70s and 80s tops versions, and then 70s and 80s tops version, there's about 200 cards. And then you got to the early Fleers, like 86, 87, 88, there's only like 132 cards in the series. So you're only focusing on the PTPs, the prime time players. And of course that era was obviously dominated by the running of the Bulls with Michael Jeffrey Jordan. But there's so many good players that ended up coming through the time, man. Isaiah Thomas getting his 2 rings back-to-back. Hakeem Olajuwon getting his back-to-backs in between the Bulls' 3-peats, which then ushered in the San Antonio Spurs and the dominance of the Spurs and the dominance of the Lakers. The Lakers who got their 3-peat with Kobe and Shaq. And of course Tim Duncan getting his 5 rings. Freaking awesome. So yeah, some of the other players that coming through, speaking of the Spurs, David Robinson, Sean Elliott. I was also, when I was taking the kids to school, I was thinking about Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. And just how cool it was to watch Sean Kemp do what he could do in the open court. And even in the half-court game, you know. He's got that one famous dunk where he cradles. It's half-court. He gets the ball about the foul line, takes one dribble, 2 steps, cradles, and then double points at the guy that he just dunked over. That's infamous. And of course, you got great shooters like Bird and Mullen. Reggie Miller, oh man. Hated Reggie Miller when I was younger, but now that I'm older, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I just wish that guy would have got one. He was so good. So good, fucking tenacious. Who were some of the other guys? Of course, Barkley. He's in there. Dr. J. Magic and Kareem, you know? Going right down the list. So yeah. Baseball's tough for me to collect again because there's so many cards. When I had gone back home and shipped my card collection back to Florida and then here to Colorado as well, it wasn't until we got to Colorado where I was finally going through all the boxes that I had, and I had 86, 87 tops, which I think is when the Mets won. It's either the Mets or the Royals, I can't remember. But there's over 700 cards in there, and it's like, Jesus Christ. It's like finding a diamond in the rough if you want to find like a really good card. If you're in it for the investment of it, making money off it. But if you're in it just to collect the cards, that's a lot of freaking cards. And it was amazing to me how many baseball cards I had compared to basketball. I don't know why I didn't collect more basketball cards at the time. I did almost have the full set of the Premier Fleer 86, 87. Still have about half of them right now. I did sell them when we went to Chicago last July. But looking back on it, man, I should have taken some of the Hall of Famers out that I had in there. And the stickers are actually even more rare. Good quality stickers are even more rare than the base cards. And whenever we would get the stickers, well, we'd peel them off and stick them to stuff. So when I went to go sell my set to the dude that I sold it to, the first time I showed him my binder, I had the backs of the stickers, right? Because I saved the backs of them. And he goes, "Oh man, you got all the stickers?" And I said, "No, man, I'm sorry, I just got the backs of them." And he was like, "Oh." So he took some of them out and he flipped them over. He was like, "If you had these, I probably would have bought this off you for double." Not double, but maybe 1.5 times as much is what he said. because good quality stickers were very valuable. They were tough to cut. They were tough to get them centered. And I did have the Jordan sticker, but I put it on something. Probably put it on like a, I don't know, a shoe. It's on my wall somewhere. Just stuck it up. It's so funny to think about it now, and how much some of these cards are worth. I started looking at, even though my focus is on 80s and 90s basketball, I did start looking at LeBron rookies and Kobe rookies. I can understand, them taking a high price. LeBron's rookie card season, I think, was 03. It was, his rookie year, I think, was 02. Some of his cards are pretty cool looking. They're able to capture him in some fantastic poses. They have one with him, just a completely blank background, and he's doing a little bit of a spread eagle. He's got the ball between his legs, and he's looking up backwards, going for a reverse dunk, double pump dunk. Really cool looking card. And of course, there's cool Kobe looking cards. For some reason, and I have to do a little bit more research on this, there are cards that were churned out. They were called refractors, and they capture a pretty high price on the market right now, and I'm trying to figure out why. It's not like they're rare. I don't know if it's just better quality or what, but these refractors get a ton more money than regular base cards do. Anyway, coming over the ridge here, nice view of the Rockies. We had a really interesting sky this morning. It was like all of a sudden covered in a blanket, and then there was just this line where the clouds stopped and the sun was rising. It's actually behind me now. I'm going west towards the mountains, but it was to the east. It was very pretty. So, with that all being said, looking forward to heading on home and getting a good solid breakfast. Keto coffee, eggs, avocado. I'll have my chicken and cabbage for lunch. And I'm getting close to mapping out what my diet is going to be when it comes to the shredding phase, because I really want to maintain a very, very consistent approach, eating the same thing every day. The only time I'll deviate is on the weekends, because, the body starts to figure shit out. It's like, oh, you're only giving me this many calories? Oh, okay, well then I'll hold on to some, and I won't burn off that excess. So the way to do it, or the way I've done it in the past, is cut your calories down. Maybe I'll go somewhere between 1,500 and 1,800 per day, and then on the weekends bump it up, enjoy a nice meal, get some carbs in there as well, like a pasta, to basically trick the body and be like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. You're not restricting calories, you're taking in more. Okay, so let's burn more off. And then after 2 days, jump right back down into the 15 to 1,800 range, and then your body's still, it's not, I don't want to say confused, but it's still in that mode of, okay, we're burning more. So then you drop down to 1,800, and you're burning more. So that's the current plan. I think I've got it good, because I'm going to be getting a nice mix of macronutrients coming from various sources, and that's what I want. I don't want to keep it focused just on one source, because that'll probably get pretty boring for me. So, with all that being said, heading back to work. I got a couple projects that I'm working on right now that are rather exciting. One of them could potentially be a game changer in terms of how our clients use our product, and it's getting close to being done, so it's pretty exciting. I've been working on it since last November, I think. And some of these larger projects or larger models that I have put together that we make available to all of our clients, they do end up taking multiple months to put together. I don't know what I'm saying. because there's this dude in front of me. I mean, we got 35 mile an hour speed limit, and he's going like 28, 27. It's a really shitty, beat up car. I guess he's just, trying to make sure that it still works. Holy cow, that car's old. The Subaru looked like it was like a 90s Subaru. Anyway, here we go. Taking a right. Turning back onto the base. Decent line of cars. I must produce my identification, which, by the way, I got to get a new ID. I mean, it doesn't expire until next February, so I got 11 months on it. But it's got my wife's old rank on it. It's got Lieutenant Colonel. She's not a Lieutenant Colonel anymore, folks. She is a full fucking bird. Woo! She did her Peloton ride again this morning. Keeping herself in good shape. She is going, in 2 weeks, she's going to Aruba with her best friend. It's a trip that they have been planning since they were in high school together. Now, unfortunately, her friend is a large woman. Very, very nice. And whenever we go back to visit Chicago, she welcomes us with open arms, treats us extremely well. Her husband owned a car dealership, ended up selling it a couple years back for like $10 million. Somewhere around there. So he just quit working. Why wouldn't you, right? 10 million is good enough. You get 5% on that a year, even 3%. That's $300,000 you can spend. 3% a year. Damn. On 10 million. 300 grand. Very nice. Very nice. So anyway, here, let me get scanned and I'll just go back to something. Morning, man.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Have a great day.
Thank you. So yeah, her friend is she's unfortunately a big girl. I mean, I'm talking. She's bigger than I am. Like, I weigh 190. She probably weighs 290. And we'd love to see her and her husband get back into shape, but they just eat shitty. So when they go to Aruba, I feel for her because my wife is in phenomenal shape. I mean, when she was home, I picked them up from the airport, her and my stepson, on Tuesday night. Wednesday they were home. Yesterday she was walking around the kitchen. I was at the island cooking some food, and she was in front of me at the sink, and she bent over and leaned forward to pick something up, and her booty looked great. She turned back around and said, "Hey, can you do me a favor?" And she's like, "What?" I said, "Can you turn around again and lean forward and pretend like you're grabbing something?" She knew exactly what I was asking her to do, is to stick her butt out. She looks awesome. So, I mean, and they're going to be in swimsuits. My wife's got fucking phenomenal bikinis. She's got like 10 of them that make her look even better than she looks, normally. So, I feel for her. I wish that she could get herself healthier. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, real nice sight of Denver in the foreground. It looks like it's shadowed, and then there's some detail in the mountains after it, as the mountains are forefront of the mountains are getting hit by some sunlight. The back end are shadowed too, so it's kind of like a shadow, and then the mountains the forefront of the mountains in between. So that'll round it out for this week, everybody. Let me wish you all a fantastic weekend wherever you are. Stay focused, stay motivated, keep yourselves healthy, hug your kids, hug your wife, and I'll smell you on Monday.